God, he's so based. Actually, just Jar highlight reel.
I think it's embarrassing to admit that I'm wearing a Superman shirt right now.
No way! Started avoiding female co-workers. So based. Keep elaborating. No, keep elaborating.
Okay, so it might just be gas.
As far as I'm concerned, Jar's back in the house, okay? It's just like the American History X song.
I've been watching a lot of BoJack Horseman because of how he kind of does that too with people.
So Beckett has put together an hour-long JustARobot video. I believe edited by someone who's around here a lot. I don't know if I'm saying who did it. How open are we about everything? Oh no, yeah, where's that from? Okay, yeah. So Max did a lot of the editing on this, I believe. So let's take a look. Wait 1 minute. This is sped up, isn't it?
Jar is the personification of every terrible thing that has ever been said about the ACC. He is the snakiest, leechiest I have ever seen.
Recently, in the wake of his video defending Cinebear from serious grooming allegations, JustARobot found himself involved in one of the most insane livestream interviews of all time, being ripped limb from limb by Chud Logic.
Right, so you were trying to use my platform in order to spread your message under the auspices of, oh, I just want your feedback. That's extremely manipulative, and I'm amazed that you think I would fall for that. I'm astounded that you think you could pull a fast one on me like this.
Well, I did want your feedback.
Who are you kidding?
Now, you might be misled into thinking that Jar is some sort of new kid on the block, but his history on the internet goes way, way back, and it's wrapped up in multiple dramas and controversies. In fact, drama and controversy may be the one consistent thing about the guy, because his earliest content was wrapped up in the anti-SJW skeptic community. And while I've held off on talking about Jar for a while now, there was one moment in the Chud Logic interview that really caught my interest.
If I am in the wrong, I will happily take down my video. I've been lied about plenty of times, and I've always fought back against people slandering and lying about me. I'm not fighting back this time because I know, after chatting with you and watching through your video, that I am in the wrong here.
Now that claim, that Jar has been lied about and slandered over...
So the cap, the entire community is way worse than Jar. True, it's like Jar looks better by the day, honestly. Well, I'm just like, every time something else happens, I'm like, man, Jar looks way more endearing than most of these people. Holy f***.
...over the years is a really, really interesting one. Because his history is so messy and convoluted, there's no comprehensive timeline that really exists for Jar. So alternatively, I've interviewed many of the people who've interacted or had issues with Jar over the years, because I think the best way to show you who Jar is to show you who Jar is. Thoughts on Jar?
Yeah, gay, wow. Autistic.
The stuff that's
Wow, he really used the one with the collar.
Jar.
That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, gay, autistic.
The stuff that's recently occurred with Cinebear isn't an outlier, it's part of a much larger pattern for the way he behaves with other creators online and presents himself to an audience. So what we're going to do here today is look through many of his previous actions and build a profile of one of the most crazy internet autists I think currently exists on YouTube.
This one goes out to my coolie.
Dude, the KFC stinger. Dude, Max.
Exists on YouTube.
This one goes out to my coolie.
I think a good place to start with Jar is his professional victimhood, which is at such astonishing levels, it beggars belief.
I avoided talking about the ArtCC dramas because ArtCC people tend to be a bit backstabby.
Interestingly, this is a sentiment he'd repeat to Cinebear in his recent and now deleted video where he goes to bat for her.
That's why I hate ArtCC people, they're insanely backstabby.
But what does Jar mean by this? What situations has he been in that he just assumes everyone is out to stab him in the back? Well, this is most probably one of those cases where you just assume that others are going to do to you what you will do to them. Because if anybody is a backstabbing bitch, it's Jar. He's very willing to sort of like put the knife in and twist it. And from what I hear, it's because like he'll hold a grudge for like 5 years, 10 years, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, let's say somehow his Cinebear like affiliation alliance succeeded. Let's say the video goes off amazingly. Everyone's like, let's go. This is amazing. it's pretty likely that sometime in the future, when they have a falling out, JustARobot would forget all of that and then completely turn on his previous position just to go at Cindy Bear for whatever reason. Like that's what that seems to be like what he's done, and everyone just kind of skirt past it because everyone just thinks like, oh, he's just got the right opinion, like it's fine.
The video we're currently watching clips from is his one on Hopeless Peaches, and like many other dramas in the past, the minute Jar has an opportunity to take a shot at somebody, regardless on what terms he is on with them, he will take it. Which makes this next bit incredibly ironic.
It doesn't matter how many times you shout them out, defend them in a drama, or anything else. To them, you're just another potential target for them to make a video on.
So, I, unfortunately, had the displeasure of going through your Susie video today, because I had it beforehand. Because I...
Oh, great, the Leo Convoy beef retrospective. Oh boy.
had people tell me it was in there, and I wanted to make sure I knew. So I'm going to tell you what I saw in that video, Jar. I saw you dancing on the grave of somebody who, with the exception of voicing in a video, which you and her resolved between yourselves, dancing on the grave of somebody who'd been nothing but kind to you.
Jar will say that the accusations against him have been long debunked. And while we'll look into why he's been able to make that claim, there's one particular accusation that I really want to hone in on because it does.
Diddy didn't diddle kids, did he? That's what a crazy sentence. Is that intentionally, like, I don't know what you call it. It is alliteration, kind of, but there's more to it than alliteration. He allegedly fucked Justin Bieber when he was like 14 or something. But, so do you like diddling kids? This isn't like a phrase or meme that's associated with Diddy. Oh, and the 13-year-old girl's suing him. Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's not really like a, it's not a Diddy meme. Say, do you like diddling kids? That's not got like any relevance, really, other than involving kids. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's the last video.
Then to everybody in the Art CC, guys, if your allegations about me being racist haven't worked the first 50 times, then they're not gonna work this time. Like, seriously, I have been called racist by the Art CC for doing an accent. At this point, things are just getting petty.
At the risk of making Jar sound dangerously based, let's just say the racism accusations are more than just doing some voices. Now, while I don't personally care, I think that there is more than enough here that if you wanted to make that accusation, it is a reasonable one to make, and Jar getting so upset about it is absolutely insane.
The only time I remember him saying it was when he said, say. But even then, that was to make fun of a white girl. Oh, so your thumbnail maker is either a racist white person or a according to you.
I decided to reveal my true colors. I, JustARobot, am in fact black.
Just to be clear, this goofy motherfucker is like the whitest person I have ever seen.
That's awesome.
And let's not forget about the outro song to this dude's old videos.
My eyes have seen the glory of
yes,
the
Roman salutes in chat.
Debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. JustARobot marches on.
And before you say, hey Beckett, that's just the Battle Hymn of the Republic, what are you talking about, bro? It was noted by several sources that this rendition bears a striking similarity to the rendition in American History X.
The white man marches on.
He was begging for me to.
Okay, and hello, W Jar. Where is it again? So this is just even more based then.
My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube. Debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. JustARobot marches on.
The advice I can give to people who are raped is don't take a shower after being raped, mainly because you'll wash off all the evidence.
God, he's so based. No, not Rouge the Bat's ass. Where were we? Where did this video go? Oh, here.
To explain how calling a black woman an ugly little black thing is racist.
Oh my God. Wait, is that what he actually said? Because I've never heard the racism accusations.
He did. it's bad.
He
Like, oh
called-
my god.
Yeah, he called Omni a stupid black woman for them having a disagreement. He then went on to he had made a video on something about race bending, because he always has beef with like black characters in anime. But you know what? You can have your own opinion, even though it's sus in my opinion. But anyway, in that video, he called Michelle Obama a man, and like
Actually, just Jar highlight reel. Jar highlight reel.
like some racist memes in there. Yeah, and then he's like, straight up, he just likes to say the N-word and just like say crazy things. But he says that it's because he has apparently his black roommate doesn't mind it, so...
And it's not
Okay,
even racist
cool.
against black people.
That's awesome.
I've got a black friend.
Literally.
Yeah, he actually
made
made a video. He said, I asked my black friend, that is his roommate, Professor Dreadlock. He said it's fine. So like, he wasn't mad
Professor Dreadlock gave me the pass.
about it.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God. And he did a video where he said that Asian people speak English.
Yeah,
good.
he
Send
also
me all
said
of it.
Something about Jewish people.
A lot of the people who worked directly under Larry Fink were Jewish, up to the point that a lot of people who worked in the company called his desk, quote, Little Israel. And this is why some people have accused me of asking the Jewish question.
Now, nothing I'm presenting here is particularly new. Jar's been dealing with these accusations for years now, and they are, to be fair, very much a product of the environment in which he used to exist. The issue lies in the fact that he's such a whiny bitch about them anytime they're brought up. Now, I want to be fair, but it's very difficult to paint a picture of a guy I've never even spoken to, which, let's be honest, only left me with one option. I'm interested as to why this bothers you so much, because, you know, I think those of us who've been around a while all have sort of our edgier elements.
You actually talked about that in the video you did with Akumu. You did, remember? I remember.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned some things along those lines. And it's interesting watching your reaction to that.
Beckett getting mogged.
I know. The reason why I think I had such a visceral reaction before the Cine Bear stuff, that was the closest I have ever. That was the closest I have ever come to being canceled. Prismate Luke talked about it, Thuman, Kai, and a bunch of other people were going to talk about it, but I apologized very early on. And then it kind of went away, but people kept on bringing it up. And it's kind of become a meme, in a way. It's like, I even brought it up in my Cine Bear video, like, come on, you don't even think I'm racist? Boo! Like... It's kind of become a meme. I've kind of accepted it, but when it first happened, my biggest connection with another YouTuber was Kuro the artist, and Prismate Luke painted me incredibly uncharitably. Like, he claimed that my roommate's avatar, he wasn't my roommate at the time, but now he is, but my roommate's avatar, Professor Dreadlock, was a quote-unquote blackface version of me, even though the only thing they have in common is it's in the same art style.
Okay. I mean, I don't think I've seen that image. I've only seen the one where you've got sort of your robot character properly sort of race swapped in your video where you're talking about, I believe, Sean King and some of the stuff that's happening around black identitarian politics.
Yes, that's another...
Yeah, guys, look, honestly, at this point, you know, Kumo's left the internet. Cine looks like she's not gonna be able to come back, and if she does, she'll get harassed off again. Romantic Goblin is totally worthless. I just think it's time. JustARobot, you're back on the team.
I don't personally think that was blackface, but what happened there is the artist who did my original avatar drew that picture of me because that's how she assumed I looked in real life. And if you've seen any leaked pictures of me, you know I don't look a thing like that.
I am aware of the leaked pictures. I will say I know that your sort of face isn't out there. So if any like image of you is used, it will be blurred. So I'm not sort of face revealing you. But I know those images are...
Wait, but it's on his Wikitubia.
Some robots don't know the struggle.
It's on his fucking Wikitubia. It's not even on KF.
Sort of pretty widely shared around. I think I've seen them on Twitter as well at this.
I just hate that everybody uses the lowest res image of me. I'm like, there.
Put out some better images then, Jar. I want to have some higher res images of Jar. So thank you for the $10, Tommy C's cat. Jar W. Some robots don't know the struggle.
There's literally every image of me that I leaked. It was higher quality than that one, but everybody loves to use the one where I'm in low resolution for some reason.
The Superman shirt.
I think it's the Superman shirt, mate. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I think it's embarrassing to admit that I'm wearing a Superman shirt right now.
No way! Dude, I can't. This guy's fucking awesome.
Fair enough. But okay, I think that sort of clears up that question. No, actually, no, sorry, I had one other thing. The song you use at the end of your videos, the Battle Hymn of the Republic that you had for the way those videos ended. I heard through one of the people I spoke to, in fact several of the people I spoke to, that it bears a striking similarity to American History X. I sort of just wanted to ask whether that in any
Thank you, Lumpy Willy.
way was an inspiration, because the wording has similarities to that particular song in ways that it doesn't have to the original hymn.
Oh, no, that's perfectly understandable, and that is accurate. I heard...
Yes, it is a parody of the American History X version. Let's fucking go. Oh my god, this guy's fucking amazing.
My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube, debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. JustARobot marches on.
The song growing up, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. Then I watched a movie, American History X, while I was actually creating my channel, and I thought... when I heard that racist rendition of it, I thought, oh, I'm going to make my own rendition of this song. Like, it's a...
Dude, he's just saying it. It's so crazy.
To the original hymn.
Oh, no, that's perfectly understandable, and that is accurate. I heard the song growing up, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. Then I watched a movie, American History X, while I was actually creating my channel, and I thought... when I heard that racist rendition of it, I thought, oh, I'm going to make my own rendition of this song. Like, it's a rendition of a rendition, and one of my friends... who's not my friend anymore, helped me come up with the lyrics. And yeah, that's where the song came from. By the way, highly recommend the movie American History X. My one problem is when the white nationalist guy is shooting, that gun had way too much ammo for a pistol.
Oh my god, that's... dude.
As a final element of this section, I'd just like to hone in on the element
He's
of Jar
amazing.
making
I love this
apologies.
guy.
Because in this regard, it can be difficult to take them at face value.
Going to help me with my apology video. That's going to be on me.
You know this guy sits there, sees the make of the gun immediately when it appears on screen, and he's just got a counter in the back of his head like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, reload.
And I'm...
Jar, here's the problem.
Yeah?
Your apology video, it's not going to have any value to it. And the reason why it's not going to have any value to it because you have gone on record before saying you will revoke apologies. That's...
Well, no. Well, I haven't revoked all of them, but like...
And here lies a problem with a lot of the stuff with Jar. The dude has no spine and no conviction. However, I do have to thank Jar...
What do you mean? He just stood on that. He just said, yeah, I used the racist version of the song.
For one thing. Because if I continue playing the clip that set up the racism segment, it brings us nicely onto our next section.
Try calling me sexist next time. At least there's plenty of evidence for that allegation.
During the latter half of his conversation with Chud Logic, FPS Diesel would make an appearance and drop an unexpected bombshell.
Right, what is this?
Yo, you're all good. You can finish it up tomorrow, in fact. Yeah. What a cute little pussy.
Now this raises an interesting question. Is this an outlier, or does Jar have some sort of well-known history in relation to his odd behavior towards women?
I mean, look, I told you in DMs before, you throw a rock at
No, I'm sure that I'm sure he raises every woman like that. Yes, absolutely certain.
Towards women.
I mean, look, I told you in DMs before, you throw a rock at a woman in this community, they'll tell you a story about Jar. It's like an instinctive reaction.
And that's not an understatement. Basically, every woman I've spoken to has a story. And in some cases, people have heard about this project and are just sending me their DMs with Jar. Now I'm going to level with you. I want to limit this to the conversations I've actually had with people who have platforms, because it's quite easy in situations like this for people to come out with accusations which are later shown to be false. That being said, we are going to start with Jar's former artist, given that they're a bit of a ground zero for this being discussed. You worked with Jar as his artist.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me some of the interactions you had with Jar?
Yeah, well, most of it on my side was just like super professional and like, you know.
What is the point of keeping this person anonymous if you've got their whole voice there and like the basics of their Discord profile? Like it will probably take me like 2 minutes to ask around and know who this person is.
Like it started out really, really professional and simple, like any kind of client relationship you would expect. But after, I'd have to check the date, but after like not too long, he started to want to VC with me.
No, Max only did some of the editing. I think most of it's Beckett.
So he asked me to VC him. If this was the first time he ever asked me, and I was like, oh, yeah, I can totally. Oh, that was a response to something else. I basically was like, I can probably VC in a little bit. And this was the first time I thought, oh, maybe I'll humor him. I mean, maybe.
No, Max like the chatter.
He's a nice guy. Maybe I'll VC him. I don't know, because usually I think it's like a client thing. Like maybe he wants to talk about
Max is in Mama Max.
art. But I realized that maybe he just wanted to chat as friends or something. I don't know. I didn't know him at all. And so he was like, awesome. Just so you know, sometimes I say off the cuff shit, lol. And I responded with, don't even sweat it. I'm the same way. I only censor myself if the other person isn't into the more edgy humor I'm into. And then he said, this is the weird part. He said, okay, cool. I just don't want to lose another person who is so useful.
Okay.
Yeah, these conversations were weird. When he said that, I was like, okay, no worries. And then I disappeared, never VC'd him. And then I got another message saying, are we not VCing? And I had told him that I accidentally fell asleep, which was probably bullshit. I just didn't want to VC him, but you know.
While requests to just jump into a voice call aren't unique to Jar within the ACC, he has certainly garnered a reputation for being a little bit weird about the whole thing, even amongst that crowd. You all know me. I'd love to do the whole kind of concerned, I think this is a really serious problem. It's also just fucking hilarious.
You said this to me before, that basically my surprise was surprising, because I kind of forget not everyone is just kind of used to it. Jar asking about women's pussies is nothing new. He did it all the time when we would VC, like, oh god, back when Peaches was still around. He used to ask us all sorts of inappropriate shit, and...
But why not just... I don't get it. Like, are you actually upset about this? Why don't you just ban him from the server? Like, some turbo autistic guy is asking about your pussy in Discord VC, and you, like, stay there. You stay there and keep talking to this autistic guy as he asks about your pussy. Like, why?
People kind of just rolled their eyes, and it was like, it's just Jar. He's too stupid to be a problem, so, like, just roll with the punches. I mean... Look, Jar crying to get it.
So it's not a problem. So yeah, so you just didn't care. Okay. So yeah.
In VCs with people is really common. The cock joke is really common.
What do you mean
asking about? Oh.
What do you mean by crying to get into VCs with people?
When well, I mean, my first ever interaction with Jar, the first time he ever DM'd me, he was like, "Hey, can you get into VC? I'm really sad and want to talk to someone." And I was like, "What?"
What?
I'm like,
Oh, poor
And
guy.
of course, this was, God, how many years ago was this now? I had forgotten about this exchange. I only remember, I just saw it because I went back into my DMs to find the other stuff.
And this is also mentioned in the conversations I had with long-standing member of the community, Sunny. But what we need is almost a case study of a particular instance where Jar's behavior is fully on display. Fortunately, one exists. Let's talk about VidCon. Now, to provide you a bit of forewarning, the stories I'm about to tell you about VidCon 2023 are quite autistic. Allow me, though, to set the scene for you. A few days prior to the event, Jar would release a thumbnail for his upcoming Spoctor video, which included a reference to EDP. Even with the allegations against Spoctor, some people felt this went a bit far. One of whom was Mally.
I had seen that, and I replied to his thumbnail thing on Twitter being like, "Hey, this is fucking dumb. Don't imply someone is, as bad as EDP when they're not."
The fallout from this thumbnail was actually pretty significant, and it's become its own little bit of Jar lore within the art commentary community. It actually even ended his friendship with another creator who goes by Harley. But personally, I think the far more interesting story is the fallout that occurred during VidCon. It seems that Jar was very keen to meet up with other creators and have a conversation during the convention, with Mally bearing the brunt of his attentions.
Dude, I will literally put fucking Epstein on a thumbnail if it's funny. Not that I do my own thumbnails, but if I would instruct Epstein to be put on a thumbnail to represent someone if I deem that to be funny. If I deem that to be funny, that's what I will do. The idea that you're so intricately involved with all these people that it's like a big problem if you make a thumbnail that's too offensive. Like, man, I would be done.
The DMs she would receive over the next couple of days are incredibly fucking weird. I don't want to read them in full, but I will give you a solid summary. Jar begins by making it clear his intentions are to talk about the current drama. Mally is not very receptive to that. However, when she refuses a VC, Jar makes the very sensible move of suggesting they meet up for drinks and then possibly going to his hotel room. He does phrase this as a joke, but it is incredibly sexually aggressive nonetheless. After this, a few days would pass, and Jar's pleas for meeting up become even more desperate, at one point saying he wouldn't threaten or berate her for not getting in a VC with him. Part of the problem here is that Jar's interactions seem to be largely like this with anyone he's having drama with. In fact, Mally would receive DMs later on in October referencing this drama. Now, we'll come back to Jar's intimidation tactics and how incredibly fucking vindictive he can be in a later section, but I want to highlight here how long-running this drama was over what was essentially a single tweet.
There's no way.
Yeah, I agree. Jar's owed sex. I agree. Do I have to read the DMs? Dude, I'm like ill. Oh my god, are we really doing this? Fuck's sake. I'll do it. Fine. I'll do my job. I'll do my job. Fine. I'll do my job. Fine. Fine. Yep, both Peaches, Lio, and others who you more than likely don't know. I'll ask them why they gave the go-ahead then. I don't really think talking your video with them makes sense because it's your video. Maybe they'll have something to say about why they thought it was fine. But if you like to talk at MVC with me and then we can. I don't articulate myself well over text. I'm still in transit ATM. Haven't got to the Airbnb yet. Maybe once we settle. Although I'm not sure every time for VC stuff during VidCon. We could talk in person at VidCon, just me and you over drinks. Maybe you could come to the hotel room with my lol JK. That's awesome. That's awesome. Maybe you could come to the hotel room with my lol JK. That's W-Riz. That is W-Riz. No way. I'm not going to spend VidCon time on that sort of thing. I just want to focus on holiday stuff. Did you see the last message? Sent it the same time as my message lol, but also XD, still no way. Fuck, well, I still would like to meet you. I do hold your opinion as high as Peaches and Leo's, but they do not like Spoctor at all. They might have had a lapse in thinking. I just haven't seen anyone say you went too hard on Spoctor until you came along. Hell, most people told me I went too soft on the game.
Actually aggressive nonetheless. After this, a few days.
Want to meet up at 12 at the water fountain. I'm not at VidCon anymore. Going home to rest, so nah. Enjoy your day. I meant tomorrow. I also left. I think it closes at 9 or 10 p.m. Nah, I'm good. I got a lot to do with VidCon as is. Alright, but what do you look like? Because the badges are too hard to read fast. I also can't hear everyone's voice at the same time. Thank you for the $5. Max.
You need
Thank
to
you.
go back on Chud's stream and apologize to this man.
That's real. Dude, what do you look like? Let me find you. Wait, so he's inviting her back to the hotel room without knowing what she looks like? W-Jar! W-Jar! Very cool. Very cool. Based gambler, yep. Go to casino. I don't really want to meet up. Don't want to talk about YouTube/work/drama. Don't want to talk about the video and Twitter stuff. Just vibing with my girls. I didn't want to talk about any of that. Just want to say hello, have a handshake and leave. But it was really a bad time for all of this drama to go down right before the con. TBH is not because of any drama. I just want to spend time with my friends and enjoying my VidCon meets and greets and stuff. Don't think it's a drama thing. Just doing my own thing on holiday. Okay, but please no, I won't be like, bitch, you were too scared to come in VC. Now you have nowhere to run and I got a gun. I just... Oh my god. Okay, but please no, I won't be like, bitch, you were too scared to come in VC. Now you have nowhere to run and I got a gun. I really just wanted to talk for 15 seconds and fuck off. I mean, you did chat with Harley a little. I hope it wasn't about me. Oh no, he's nervous. Oh my god. Okay, that's a bit freaky that you'd even think that. Didn't cross my mind. And well, yeah, Harley's in our group, he's a mate, so I've been chatting with him a bunch about basically everything, but that has no influence on this. I mean, it seems like this guy also feels a bit anxious about the fact that people are talking behind his back.
Days would pass, and Jar's pleas for meeting up become even more desperate. At one point saying he wouldn't threaten or berate her for not getting in a VC with him. Part of the problem here is that Jar's interactions seem to be largely like this with anyone he's having
Again,
drama
this is like, it is freak, but this is like autism. Really bad autism.
with. In fact, Mally would...
Hey Jar, he's still talking mad shit in public. Could you knock it the fuck off? I'm sick of tired of having to the same nonsense come out your mouth, especially when we both know it's not true. Knock it off, man. Oh my god, you're actually trying to intimidate me. Are you serious, bro? Fine. You want your fucking VC? Let's VC. I'm sending this to Leo for now. If you want them to mediate you or something, I don't mind, but I don't want Leo talking in my defense, in your defense during a call. I can't unpack every level of fucking stupid. Everything you just sent me was. Trust and believe I'm furious and exhausted. Jar, you're the only fucking person talking about someone here. So, I mean, what's this all about? I don't know what this is about. I haven't said jack and or shit about you publicly, and you're the one that can't keep your mouth shut about me. Saying, I don't like you because you were mean to Spoctor, to Randos and Senate. Fuck off with your victim party. You want your VC, you can have it. After that, I don't want to hear or see a peep. I don't work for the next 5-ish hours.
Received DMs later on in October referencing this drama. Now, we'll come back to Jar's intimidation tactics and how incredibly fucking vindictive he can be in a later section, but I want to highlight here how long-running this drama was over what was essentially a single tweet.
There's no way to describe this without it sounding uncharitable. Like, people describe this as he couldn't take no for an answer, which is just what happened, but that sounds like really sexual, and that's not what it was. I don't think. But yeah, he was kind of like just hunting for us at VidCon. We did the girly thing. It's like we have the protection squad, so if someone spotted like anything Jar adjacent, they sent a group message being like, stay indoors.
Now, Mally wouldn't be the only person to have some weird interactions with Jar throughout the convention. Another notable individual is Ponder. Now, Ponder was on lookout duty, and while chilling out outside, she'd find herself in a direct confrontation with Jar. I'm going to relay this to you really as simply as I can because it feels like a very convoluted story for a very small interaction. Ponder would be approached by Jar, who she did not recognize. They'd have a quick conversation, during which he'd mention he was also a YouTuber. When she asked, "Oh, what's your channel?" he responded, "JustARobot," gripped her hand tightly, and then laughed manically while walking away. Elements of this story have for some reason been hotly debated, whether Jar recognized Ponder, whether he laughed manically, but one thing is for certain, upon...
So he's fucking based then? So this guy's just going around VidCon dominating women, just like totally fucking mogging women in interactions. Oh, what's your YouTube name? JustARobot. You can just say like, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's cool.
Hearing the name JustARobot, Ponder exclaimed, "Oh God," and tried to pull away.
The kicker is he did it again this year. But another, I think 3.
Another 2 of our friends, yeah.
2? They told us they tried to chase them down.
No, I think they
Okay, yeah, on a real note, this guy shouldn't be at cons. On a real note, this guy should not be allowed to go to conventions on his own. This guy's roommate needs to be like with him. or something. Because like obviously this guy is gonna get like he clearly does not understand how to be normal. He clearly does not understand how to be normal.
They were either in like a hall or a panel beforehand. Jar spotted them, started coming towards them.
Oh wait,
they started
I was there.
like running away.
Okay, good. Julie, can you just
Yeah.
Okay, so we were literally in the convention hall. We were doing some fucking like Descendants thing. It was so dumb. And we spotted him. And so Jar didn't know what I looked like. He knew what B looked like. And so I was like, B, stand in front of me so that he can't fucking see you. And we were able to go through the thing. And then we started like making our way to where we could go up to the creator level because we had a panel that we wanted to go to. So one of the people turned around and was like, oh, he's following us. And he was like really fucking close. So we just booked it for the escalator and we're like, oh my God, we're running late for the panel, like very loudly. And we just ran.
Yeah, and these are people as well, the other two creators that we aren't naming, that have already told Jar like to fuck off. And the thing that it's a Jarism at this point. He jumps up and down screaming about how no one is leaving him alone and everyone is like coming at him. But Jar's the only one that's like doing shit. Everyone else is like, go away. And he doesn't.
VidCon 2023 is very much just a snapshot of who Jar is, and while I would love to present to you everything I've seen and been told about Jar, I've chosen to be selective to stuff that I can in some way verify. Now, I know that many of
he's very autistic.
those
Okay,
stories are rolling out at time of recording, and I'm sure there will be many interesting tales to tell of Jar's interactions with women. But I think the most interesting thing right now is if I just show you what he has to say about it. One thing that has sort of been brushed upon, but no one's really gone in depth because I think a lot of it is behind the scenes. When FPS Diesel came in and played you the recording of the voice message that you sent to one of your artists, that became a bit of a sideline. You know, Diesel comes in and drops a bombshell. Now, as far as I can tell, from what I've been told, every woman within the ACC who you've interacted with has a story like this. You know, and when I spoke to Lo about it, he said, well, I wasn't aware Jar was still doing that. My understanding was that Jar had a girlfriend now and had stopped.
It truly my sense of humor. This is how I joke around, and I really should have stopped joking around like this once I got a girlfriend. This is not my attempts to hit on anyone.
Sure, it's not. It's again like I guess my view towards you isn't sort of, well, this is flirtatious. Though there's I can see where that accusation comes from. I don't want to ascribe things. What I can say is this stuff is very, very odd. I mean, the let's talk about VidCon, because you know I've seen DM messages from you to Mally, and I've heard the stories of you sort of trying to find the girls at VidCon, and your interactions with Ponder. I mean, do you recognize these as sort of quite abnormal things to do?
Well, at first I wanted to meet up with Mal, and the others because I've interacted with them for so long. And then Mal just was like, I don't want to see you, and I wasn't looking for them. Like, I wasn't looking for Mal or the others. Like, I swear, first person I saw at VidCon was Harley. I think they were in a CVS pharmacy with possibly the right opinion. My roommate can confirm this for me. My roommate can, and I was just like, I don't want to interact with Harley. Like, Harley and the others are upset with me. I don't want to interact with them right now. And as for the thing at VidCon with Ponder,
do you want to give me your version of that? Because the version I've heard is you sort of approaching her and shaking her hand, telling her who you were, and then laughing manically while walking away.
Okay, yeah, I get that. So what actually happened was I sat down to eat some ice cream, and then I heard Ponder's voice, and I looked to my left, and I noticed, that person looks like Ponder. And then I read the name tag, and I was like, oh my god, this is Ponder. So I said, oh, are you Ponder Sprocket? She gave me a sticker. I shook her hand. I said, I'm also a YouTuber. And she says, oh, who? And I said, JustARobot. She yelled out, oh my God. And I immediately let go of her hand. She says I squeezed it, but I distinctly remember letting go, like just letting go immediately because I didn't want it to linger. And then I walked away. And then when I got inside,
I believe him. I believe him. I side with Jar. That whore was making it up. I side with Jar. I believe him. This sounds more reasonable. I don't think Jar does not come off to me like the sort of guy who goes around deliberately trying to intimidate people at VidCon. This sounds like he sees someone that he wanted to meet up with. I think it might be Cap. Okay. The bit he's capping on here is how he saw them. I don't think he just sat down, happened to see them, happened to go over. He was like, he probably saw them from a good way away and was like, oh, that's this Ponder Sprocket person. He probably knew and went over. But I believe that when it comes to the walking away thing, I think he probably did let go and freak out and leave. Well, oh, I'm sorry. That's what I imagine.
I kind of laughed about it because of her reaction.
Do you, I mean, with the messages you sent to Mally, you understand that those come across in quite... I mean, I know we're not saying flirtatious as a jokey side to it, but I mean, you did say, well, if you don't want to meet up or VC, we could meet for drinks and come to my hotel room.
And then I said, lol, JK, or...
This is amazing. This is amazing. There's no way he's actually trying this.
I understand that those come across in quite... I mean, I know we're not saying flirtatious as a jokey side to it, but I mean, you did say, well, if you don't want to meet up or VC, we could meet for drinks and come to my hotel room.
And then I said, lol, JK, or something.
Sure, but that's still a very aggressively sexual thing to say, right?
Yes, I realize that. I know I need to stop this. I've been given warnings about it. It's just now finally catching up to me, but this is something that is... This is one of my biggest character flaws, and it's always been my style of humor, and I don't know how... I'm going to try to get better, but...
I think when they're saying aggressively sexual, he means that the implication it's not aggressive, but he means the implication is very forward. It's very forward. Yeah, that's what he means by aggressively sexual. Can I have some drinks and come back to my hotel room? Lol, JK.
Sometimes I think, can I even do that?
Because I mean, again, looking at even like minor players like Sunny, you posed, I believe, her to voice a character. A mouse that would be in love with you for your videos?
No.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. I don't think her character was supposed to be in love with me. There was just... Okay, so... You know how... What was it? Resident Evil 4, I believe? How there was this, like, mouse... Like, people were memeing that, like, the president's daughter was, like, this mouse version of herself.
Sure.
Yeah, and as I've never played Resident Evil 4, I do not know if her and Leon get into a relationship, but the mouse was supposed to say things like, "Cheese whiz, Mr. Jar," and stuff like that, and then she told me she didn't want to do that, and I assumed it was because of the cheese whiz part, but later she explained to me that she's from Wales, and Mr. Implies a form of... like authority over someone, and I had no idea about that. That's not a thing as far as I'm aware in the States. Mr. is just like what you call an adult male where I'm from.
Okay, that again clears up. And again, I
totally clears it up.
The artist in question, who you sent those voice messages to.
Who is it?
So
I made a mistake. I thought it was the one who made the thumbnail for the Cine video because I couldn't even remember. But which artist was it?
I'm just gonna leave that anonymous.
He's mixing them up. He can't remember who he sent which voice notes to.
That's all right. But because from my perspective, this didn't come as a, I'd heard some of these stories beforehand of sort of odd interactions. So it seems like You know, if it's like done amongst close friends, you can kind of go, that's understandable. But this seems to be just your interactions generally are quite odd.
Yeah.
Overall,
yeah.
you know.
No, I want to make this clear. I'm not using this as an excuse, but just as an explanation. I'm not saying this completely means what I'm doing is okay. But not only do I have autism and dyslexia, so the communication between people, especially through text, is horrible. But on top of that, I was pretty much homeschooled all my life, so I didn't really get to interact with people. And I've actually lost jobs because of this, making jokes like this. Sometimes, and after a while, I started avoiding female coworkers, and then I started avoiding coworkers altogether because I
started avoiding female coworkers. So based, so fucking based. Do not interact with female coworkers. Do not converse with female coworkers. Do not reply to messages from female coworkers outside of working hours. So based.
I was just like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? And plenty of people have explained it to me, and now it's hitting me harder than ever. And I'm going to try to work on myself, but I'm nervous that I'll never get better.
It's kind of interesting because you made the allusion to Coyote, and I was thinking the same thing. I mean, does it occur to you that this is more or less, you know,
who talks to their coworkers outside of working hours? People who are trying to fuck their coworkers. What do you mean?
It didn't get to go as far, but this is more or less a Coyote Lovely situation.
I understand why people get that impression. The problem is I talk to everyone like that. Coyote only has spoken to 2 people like that as far as I'm aware, and Coyote did things like hire an artist to make pictures of him licking Sappho's butthole, and the most I've done is, hey Cinny, want to see my cock, and send a picture of a chicken. I think it's like, and also like,
well, even if it's to a lesser extent, because we can argue the semantics, but you built a friendship with Cinnybear, which for whatever reason, you know, Coyote, this is how it started with Coyote. He went to try and get Sappho, but ended up building that friendship and then relationship with them, you know.
Well, here's the thing, if people...
Bro, there's no way men get away with the sense of humor thing. They do a lot of the time. They do. So many people get away with that. It's like, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on in their heads. I think women are just too passive to call it out. Yeah, women know you're lying. Exactly, yeah. I think women are just too passive to call it out, I don't want to cause a problem. The women like it if you don't look autistic. But most of the people who do this sort of thing aren't good at it. At all. It's like 35-year-old guy, 40, not even 35. 35 is even a bit young for this. 55-year-old guy hitting on like 18-year-old co-workers or 18-year-old employees at a fast food place as a manager. It's like that sort of humor, you know? So like a lot of the guys that do this aren't like rizzing. It's just like something that women let happen because it's like, well, why are you going to start a fight over it?
Well, there's no way we can know for sure if I would go further or not. I'm going to say I wasn't, but I can understand if people would think I would have gone further with it. The thing is, I've talked to almost everyone like this, and I need to stop it. It's an issue I have. Thank God I'm not doing it with you right now, because I know.
What? Thank God I'm not. What?
I need to avoid that. I'm not saying, here's my cock and sending you or hey, wanted to see a
why
dick pic, and I send you a picture of Dick Grayson.
I want to keep the theme of Jar's interactions with people, but shift gears a little bit.
These people disgust me. They don't care if what they did was wrong. They just care if they were caught.
Also, I'm going to try and reach out to Chud Logic. Ooh, I remember liking his stream. I think with his help, along with the recording... You little fucking bitch!
He's got that Bobax autism where he can't tell the difference between gays and lesbians.
You little wretch! Is that what you thought, was it?
It may come as absolutely no surprise to you that that's exactly what Jar thought. Now, you may have noticed a little subscriber count number popping up when anybody's speaking, and that's because I wanted to give you an insight into how Jar sees the world. His relationships are almost entirely transactional. How much clout somebody has, how much influence they can hold, whether they can be of benefit to him, are the key things that he is thinking about. And when you fall from grace, you are of no use to him anymore.
But I also can't get help from people like Lio, Peaches, and Doodle Tones. The last two left YouTube and Lio's reputation is in the dirt.
I've been there for you. I've done it for years now. You didn't even have the decency to come to me about this because I was, and I quote, canceled, which means somehow my information means nothing. That is not treating me like a friend, Jar. That's treating me like an asset.
But I don't want to give you the impression this is the way Jar works only with larger content creators, as though he has the intelligence to be that tactical. In the current drama involving Cinebear, he begged a tiny content creator, Romantic Goblin, to come and fight in his comments section with people who disagreed with him.
Whoa, his internet YouTuber friendships are not parasocially disturbing and they're just based on monetizing his channel? What the fuck? This guy's a freak. Yeah, on Jar, right?
And because Jar's only
he doesn't feel an undying loyalty to Leo Convoy. Oh, what a terrible guy. What a terrible fucking guy. Wait, what's this from Goblin? Also getting off work now. Be home maybe 20 minutes. If you want to know what Kumo told me this morning, issues he had with your video. He was still adamant in his coverage, and so was I, that Cine still did wrong with obscenity/sexual misconduct, but it wasn't grooming. And he has walked back the locker room talk thing, not realizing it was downplaying what she did wrong. He got mad at the pot shots taken at him. Your interview with Cine. Here are the problems Kumo had with the interview with Cine. I took issue with that. I was going to tell you about it, but I got sidetracked and you went to bed. I was going to tell you today. That segment was you asking her a lot of leading questions. Leading questions. The problem was they weren't leading anyway. They didn't lead anywhere. It was just like chatting. It was the opposite. They were just like chatting. I was sleepy and she was scared. I don't normally interview people. Yeah, this is true. He had no right to leak. Kumo had no right to leak that video, and Josh should have copyright struck it.
Concern is whether you can be of use to him. It means he has basically no moral standards for the things he talks about. Now, I don't want to get into the whole Spoctor drama because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But Spoctor was somebody who they basically had banged to rights as being in possession of illicit images of a minor. So you'd think Jar would have issues with this even years later. But in his interview with Cinebear, he makes the following statements.
Don't fuck up like Spoctor and Peaches did. Like, here's the thing. When it comes to the Spoctor situation, the dude got canceled for being a pussy. Like, if I was in that same situation as him, I would have been like, oh yeah,
images of a minor. It's for the things he talks about. Now, I don't want to get into the whole Spoctor drama because that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But Spoctor was somebody who they basically had banged to rights as being in possession of illicit images of a minor. So
what a retarded way of framing that. This guy had nudes of a girl that he dated when he was a teenager still on a hard drive somewhere. That's what they mean by they had illicit images of a minor. Is he like bragged or joked about the fact that he hadn't deleted nudes that a girlfriend had sent him when he was a teenager, when they were teenagers. Just saying he was in possession of illicit images of a minor, that doesn't really represent what was going on there at all. Yeah, exactly. It's a situation of, again, probably you should delete those. Like, yeah, you should delete those. It's probably illegal wherever you are. Don't know that you'll be prosecuted for it, but it is technically illegal. You should delete those. But it's not like you've downloaded CP. These are like, you would absolutely look at someone who still has nudes as a teenager from a relationship they had as a teenager differently to someone who just downloads CP. Like, these are not this, and to portray them with stripping the context and portraying them as like the same thing. That's very retarded. He was saying he destroyed the drive and was worried it came back later at random. I haven't heard the drama. I just know that's what it's about. So I don't know whether he bragged. Someone's saying, so the idea that he even bragged is contested. I don't think it was, she wasn't like 13, was she? I thought it was like 15 or 16 when they dated. It was 15, 16 last I checked, but people say 13 because whatever. Yeah, it seems like people are just bullshitting this story. It seems like retarded.
So you'd think Jar would have issues with this even years later, but in his interview with Cinebear, he makes the following.
Is she mad about it? I don't know that. I haven't even heard that the girl was involved. As far as I'm aware, this guy just mentioned that this was a thing in like a Discord call. and all these other YouTubers decided it was a big moral panic that they had to kill him for.
Statements.
Don't fuck up like Spockter and Peaches did. Like, here's the thing. When it comes to the Spockter situation, the dude got canceled for being a pussy. Like, if I was in that same situation as him, I would have been like, oh yeah, I stumbled upon it, looked through all the multiple folders I had on it, saw the 13-year-old nudes, freaked out, ripped it out, stomped on it, and flushed it down my toilet. I'm not a predator, I just held on to those nudes in deep within folders, and that's what happened to me. Oh well, guess.
Beckett literally said on Kristanock's stream about this that only blew up because Peaches really hated Spock. Okay, so Beckett's just representing a retarded way.
I'll keep looked through all the multiple folders I had on it, saw the 13-year-old nudes, freaked out, ripped it out, stomped on it, and flushed it down my toilet. I'm not a predator, I just held on to those nudes in deep within folders, and that's what happened to me. Oh well, guess I'll keep uploading like I normally did.
Now, I have been made aware of multiple images and instances where Jar has in some way downplayed.
So, okay, I don't want to go into a whole fucking deep dive on this. I'm kind of interested.
2020 permanently ruined the way anyone looks at commentary YouTubers' videos. A person who was just making
put herself into the drama despite constantly saying how she doesn't want to be in it and would
make a video
for who you are. Someone that doesn't know you as Hopeless Peaches. I said this before, but you're absolutely broken as a person, and you don't know how to treat people well because of it.
But why did you say this, Spockter? Why is she broken as a person? Because people lied about her? Why does she need to stop tweeting because other people want to say that she's a side beta? And don't get me wrong, dude. Tweeting very serious issues to your fans could easily cause problems. But
we all first started talking to Spooter when she was like 12.
12, 13, yeah.
12, 13.
Yes. Oh, I see what this is about. Features we mentioned before, but the Hail Mary finally dropped when Leo shown a call where Spockter admitted to holding onto nudes of a minor past his 18th birthday.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. What the f are you guys talking? What are you getting at here?
I don't know what I'm getting at. But like I do kind of know what I'm getting at.
What?
Just something that's bothering me.
What's bothering you, dude?
Like, you've known this girl for a while.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, and like very early on, you would like. I think we all first started talking to Spooter when she was like 12.
12, 13, yeah.
12, 13.
Yes. Oh, I see what this is about. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I want to know like the full story, basically.
You want to know the full? Is that all this is about?
Because that's it.
I really don't want this getting out because it's just a bunch of like that I want to move past because it's a mistake I made and I want to be able to move past it.
I know.
And that's all this is because you guys know I'm a stupid idiot and I do horny shit.
Yes.
But I'm not a pedo. And I know I'm not. If it's all for if it's only for personal reasons and you promise me that, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah. It's just personal reasons.
Okay. So, yeah, I was like 16 when we around that time. She was 13, but it's only a 3-year age gap. Her and I, we had a friendship, and we were very close friends. And so, naturally, because how I acted back then, there's this fling that started, right? And so, I mean, I don't know what kind of details you want specifically, though.
Like, how long?
I'd say about a few, like, obviously since I was 16 and it ended when I was 17.
Like a couple years. Well, not a couple years.
No, 1 year.
1 year, yeah, because that's how math works.
Yeah.
And like, did it get graphic?
Did it get graphic?
Yes.
Admittedly, yeah, but like it's all gone. I don't want it anymore. I don't want to associate with it anymore. It's disgusting that even I look back on it, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Especially like after I turned 18, I was like, I had to drive. It was like sitting on the counter, and I looked at it, and I was like, why do I still have this?
I'm not a religious person. However, I'm.
Wait, oh my god, so he didn't even still have them? He just says that he had it when he was 18, he still had that drive, and then he got rid of it. What? Dude, they make it sound so bad, and it's nothing. He got rid of it at 18. I don't. Good luck. Look, listen, if there's any women in the chat that sent nudes to boyfriends between the ages of like 15 and 18, this guy is like your best case scenario. This guy is literally like the most honorable guy you will ever met. Just warning you, okay?
Relationships between adults and minors. However, from what I've seen at time of recording, I don't think Jar is running these plays and defenses because he in some way has some skeletons in his closet. I think he was probably just going along with the common consensus, and for those of you aware of the Fruitcake server leaks and the Toby drama, he wasn't the only one. Though it is worth highlighting that if Jar has friends who have done serious things wrong, whether it be Cinny or Spoctor, who bear some striking similarities, he will defend them because what's important to Jar is that his friends are useful, that his friends owe him, and ultimately that he is getting validation for the takes he gives. And please note that I'm saying takes he gives, not his takes, because Jar doesn't have any fucking opinions of his own. Jar's opinions are formed by committee. And what's insane about this statement is that isn't something I'm saying, it's something that Mally said to him when they were having drama.
I've been insulted saying my videos are designed by committee instead of just me, and I think they're right.
Jar is so incapable of having opinions of his own, he has to take criticism from years ago and rephrase it as self-reflection. I know this is going to sound petty as hell to some of you, but it really is a perfect example of what Jar does. The reason that JustARobot has been involved in so many fucking dramas is because as a drama is nearing its end, what Jar will do is jump in waving his banner saying, "Don't worry guys, JustARobot's here," when the battle is already won. And the only way Jar has been able to continue this grift is by parroting the takes that have already won the day. Which is exactly what happened in the Cinebear drama, by the way. JustARobot saw Chud Logic covering it and laughing at Birdie and assumed that meant public opinion was turning. And then he just simply stole Kumu's opinions. Unfortunately for him, Kumu's opinions on the topic were fucking retarded. And if it sounds like I'm losing my mind, it's because after hours of looking through this guy's history, it is infuriating how often this has happened. And by the way, just before you think I'm some sort of conspiracy theorist, I'm not the only one who's noticed this.
Jar to me has always kind of been like a snake in the grass. I think that's the best way to describe him. He comes around only when like all the situations are over and he tries to act as if he was like the voice all along that people should have listened to. He has this I feel like he has this sort of like hero complex in a way when he makes his videos. And the reality is that he just kind of, he looks to an opinion that he can repeat that's the prevailing one. And then I feel like he can just kind of goes with the flow of the community, and that's how he's been able to just kind of get away with being this like this fucking idiot, you know.
I guess I wonder looking at this when you've got a decently sized platform where your job on the internet is to commentate on things, where you're sort of saying to me, well, yes.
Yeah, I don't think Toastify's comment there made much like it. It seems like Jar was going against the prevailing narrative here. Like he was defending some groomer.
So I commentate on things, but I'm not actually sure I have any actual opinions, which is, a bit of an odd juxtaposition.
I do have opinions. I do. It's just I want my opinion to be right. Well, I guess everybody does to a certain extent. It's just sometimes I'm trying to. The problem with one of my biggest problems is I'm trying to seem like a very good version of myself to both sides or all sides, and I've been trying to strike that balance and I can't, and now I have to realize who am I. And a lot of people have noticed I've flip-flopped to being more progressive and trying to work on pronouns to being more edgy, and I keep going back and forth. I'm like, I don't know what I prefer. I don't know what I want.
Before we move on, I want to get to why Jar has survived so long.
It's just, when you constantly win, like I have.
Now, this might seem like a slightly odd statement given what we've seen recently, but I promise you, there is actually an explanation, and it's highlighted in the recent call Kumu had with Cinebear.
Like, I knew how this guy was. I warned you how he was. I told you what position you were in, and I was very conscious and scared on your behalf because of what position you're in. Jar could have raped you, and that's probably what he was trying to, like, that was probably his dream, his end goal.
Jar's history includes some of the most insane false allegations I have ever seen. including in one instance a grooming accusation against her niece who does not exist. And this has been to Jar's net benefit, because whenever people level criticism at him, he's able to point to those allegations and say they were false. So how can we trust these ones?
What were the Fluffy Turbo allegations?
Fluffy Turbo and Chaos 55T came out of hiding to make up false allegations about Jar grooming and sexually abusing his niece, who doesn't exist. So, for context, Chaos 55T was originally a part of the people who drove Jar off of DeviantArt. This is like bits and pieces that I remember from his DeviantArt whatever story. She made up allegedly, she made up someone who doesn't exist and claimed that Jar drove this person to end themselves. When Jar came forward and talked about what he dealt with, obviously Chaos got a lot of flack from that. She dipped. A few months later, maybe a year later, I don't exactly remember the time frame, Fluffy Turbo, who was one of Chaos's friends, started going around to people, Laka Moka Laka and myself included, trying to pass off these screenshots as allegations that Jar was grooming a minor and that he had in the past sexually assaulted his niece. I went over this stuff, and in the course of 5 minutes, I told Fluffy Turbo to shove it. But I think 2 weeks after that, she brought the allegations to the public and tried to press them. So I did a stream going through them, basically being all like, this is fucking bullshit. And in the course of the stream, some of the allegations went over the idea that Jar was racist. And I basically shrugged it off and said, yeah, we know Jar's racist. I don't care about this stuff. Show me the serious stuff. And as far as I'm aware, he's held that against me since.
I mean, only in the ACC could you have a drama about sexual assault against somebody who's not real.
Yeah. It's happened at least twice.
When Jar says he wins his dramas, what he actually means is he manages to debunk some of the insane accusations coming from people who've been A-logging him for 10 years. Which is why, if you're going to make accusations like this against somebody, you better have some solid evidence and some reliable sources. Though I do want to be charitable. Many of you will be aware of my drama with known dentistry dodger Wick TV, who in early 2023 removed me from a panel so he could rizz up another member of said panel because she had more subscribers.
Okay. The Southern Wick Seeth section, maybe, okay.
Subscribers than me. Now, Wick's history of scumbaggery is well documented. We also clashed in early 2024 when it was discovered that he was working with Progressive Victory undisclosed to his audience while promoting them. And if you're confused as to why I'd bring up a completely unrelated person who has nothing to do with any of this in the middle of a video on Jar, I don't blame you. So please explain to me why every single JustARobot drama video has a section rehashing his grievances with people who are nothing to do with anything, and they're randomly inserted in the most awkward way possible. In his hit piece on Doodle Tones, he basically stops talking about her.
It was for the
3
point.
minutes, so he can talk about how much
It was
better
it was a self-aware 2-minute Wick Seeth section randomly inserted into the video.
The other commentators he's fought with over the years. And in case you think this is an isolated incident, no, this is just how Jar works. In his recent conversation with Lyo Convoy, when his credibility and reputation is crumbling, he promises never to make a drama video again. Though he does have one question.
Quick question.
God,
I do have one drama video that is all finished. And I was thinking of just making it a Patreon exclusive. Do you think I should do that?
No.
Jar has a pathological need to go after people who have slighted him in the past. And while he is talking about how he will never engage in drama content again, this is something I would be deeply skeptical of. This isn't the first time Jar has taken a break. And secondly, because deep down, Jar is deeply, deeply vengeful.
Every time I go to bed and I'm about to fall asleep, I just feel angry about sometimes things that have happened 10 years ago. And sometimes I feel like revenge is the only thing that keeps me going.
And don't get me twisted, I personally love a little bit of vengeance, but one of the frustrating things about Jar is his need to be seen as the hero and never the villain.
When I'm winning in a drama, I try to show my opponents mercy. I guarantee you, if the situation was flipped, Diaper Tones would not have done the same. I knew this from the beginning our drama began, but I still showed them kindness. But despite all the kindness I showed them, they were not willing to show me any kindness in return.
Okay, this is just insane nonsense. I've got no idea why Jar would say this when it's so obviously and provably false. It's probably time to bring up Jar's second channel, which dates back to 2013 and is basically just a huge list of hit pieces against people who have pissed him off over the years. And Jar can say that he is merciful when he's winning a drama, but I really want to direct you to one person that Jar...
Wait, what is this thumbnail? Achilles Argyle does not understand race, featuring repressive dreadlock, and he's got the stinky paws. He's got the stinky paws there.
Merciful when he's winning a drama, but I really want to direct you to one person that Jar has been beefing with for 8 years at this point. The creator in question is T-Moss Boss, who has over 100,000 subscribers and a dead channel. Even in the midst of the current drama as one of Jar's longest running detractors, still nobody gives a shit. Except for Jar. That final video that Jar wanted to put up on Patreon is in fact on T-Moss Boss. You literally cannot make this insanity up. However, T-Moss does help us to answer some interesting questions. For example, why is it so many people are hesitant to even go after this guy? Now, I think it's reasonable to say that there are two separate components to this. Firstly, if you go after Jar, you will be dealing with Jar for the rest of your life, as he makes video after video after video on you. The next element is Jar's audience, which Jar himself describes as quite toxic. And while he claims to have taken steps to try and get them to chill the fuck out a bit, the honest truth is, the only way to get your audience to stop gunning for somebody is to just stop talking about them.
I do these drama videos to bring justice. I have a big channel, which gives me a lot of power.
Look, Jar is absolutely aware of the threat he poses to smaller content creators. And within the ACC, many people just don't want to deal with something like that. In fact, well,
that's their problem. I just... What threat is he? I don't get it.
The common questions I was asked is, are you sure you want to go down this route? Because you are going to be hearing about it for the rest of your life online. Just as an aside on this topic, I want to note Jar's startling paranoia, which has managed to fuck him over in ways he wasn't even aware of. I'm aware that you were worried.
Look,
Why does Beckett sound so much more fancy than you?
Because he's South African, not British. He's fake. Literally, just pull up this video. Like, why not just replay it? If he took shit, where's the video gone? Am I crazy? What if Goku was a girl, just a robot? Has he removed it? We watched it the other day, no? Oh, wait, no, there we go.
Just a robot. What if Goku was a woman? Now, I'm not talking about if he became a woman, I mean he was born as a woman. Also, this is not some Rule 63 universe, only Goku is gender bent and everybody else is their normal gender. Now first we need to think of a name for female Goku. In several cultures, a name that ends with an O is masculine, and a name that ends with an A is feminine. So I'm gonna call him Gokua. Now the first question that probably comes to mind is, what's the power difference between Gokua and Goku? After all, on average, males are stronger than women. And while that is true for human women, Saiyans are a warrior race, and they have plenty of male and female fighters. Plus, Ki amps you up a lot more than your physical strength does. So while Gokua may be slightly weaker than Goku, it's not enough to really change anything in the series. I also know that a lot of you are thinking, but what about Gohan? If Goku never ends up with Chi-Chi, Gohan will never be born. And as soon as Raditz shows up, they're screwed. But here's the thing, just because Gokua didn't end up with Chi-Chi doesn't mean she didn't end up with someone else. But who could the lucky human be? Is it Tien? Well, I would doubt it, because Tien doesn't show any romantic interest to anyone in the series. Is it Yajirobe? No, I think even in this universe he would still end up with Korin. Is it Yamcha? No. Honestly, I think he would get hitched to Krillin. They were childhood friends, he brought Krillin back to life. They both love fighting. Honestly, it kind of seems like a perfect match. I know a few of you want Goku to end up with Vegeta, but I don't think that the
Guys, what's the problem? I'm just playing the video. I
would
just
sully
explain
himself with such low-class trash. But don't feel bad for Chi-Chi. She would still end up with someone, Yamcha. And they would have a kid, who I'm going to call Yamcha Jr., and she could raise him to be the nerdiest person she could. Now later, Krillin would knock up Goku.
Sorry, I don't understand how this guy makes a video on you, and it's like, whoa, I'm fucked. His fans are gonna tear me apart. There's nothing I can do. But bro, you're getting harassed by the guy who makes "What if Goku had a pussy" videos.
Worried that the ACC girlies were going to go after you, and you seem to make allusions to this in the commentary video.
Well, to be fair, they've been going after me. They're not just women. There's yeah.
Do you know that there was only one video planned on you, and it was a defense video?
No.
I know that Jar has been allegedly paranoid that the ACC is like planning on making a video on him or whatever. I have not been aware of any videos that people have been planning on making about Jar, except for one. I was making a video about the Fluffy Turbo situation and talking about how the allegations against Jar were false. I canceled my production of that video despite literally almost being done because, one, I couldn't get the stupid Twitter account with his real ass name taken off of Twitter, no matter how many times I was reporting it, and I had been reporting it for months. But also because Jar decided to make a pot shot about me in one of his videos, and I decided, fuck him, he's a jackass, he doesn't deserve it.
The only person making a video on you was Ponder, and it was to defend you from the previous accusations. And
well, I mean, Twitter has rules against doxing, right, Rita?
Then you came out and took a shot, and the video was cancelled.
No, I'm pretty sure there was nothing. You're saying there was TOS in that video. I'm pretty sure there's not. Like, this has been up for fucking ages. I'm pretty sure whatever this shit is, you can show it. This video's been up for literally, like, fucking 6 years. I don't think there's any TOS in that video.
I mean, you do have an entire second channel, which does seem to be sort of vengeance responses to people.
Yeah, I know.
You can show basically
going back to 2013.
Back to 2013.
Yeah, I mean that's
I thought you were talking about the recent stuff. Yeah, this is one issue I do have. I just have a very strong desire to get back at people, and the worst part.
He has lewd shit of Teen Gohan, dude. Okay, and
it is once you do.
It's not fucking TL, dude. Have you used YouTube before?
It feels a little good, but it doesn't feel nearly as great as you would think it does. And I was trying to respond to every single video ever made on me on my second channel at one point, but then I got bored.
It's like 13. And he's not 13. He's a cartoon.
Now I realize like how silly and stupid that made me look, because I could have been making videos that people actually gave a shit about and got a lot more views. And granted, response videos are a lot easier to make. Like, you know what you're saying, you know what they're saying. You don't even need a script. You just hit the record button and use some gameplay. Very easy stuff to make. But now, with the amount of people I've pissed off, I realized that I kind of dug my own grave by acting the way I did. I kept on pissing people off one after another. And eventually it would have. I knew eventually it would come back to bite me in the ass, and it did.
I mean, yeah. So the people I've spoken to who've had sort of issues with you in the past, one of the constant things I hear is they don't want to respond. They don't want to deal with kind of how vengeful you are. And there's this fear, especially for smaller channels.
Oh, you're pointing out, okay, you're pointing out that shit's on YouTube. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you've just linked in my chat, but no, you're just pointing out that this is on YouTube, that there's already crazy shit on this website. because that's got loads of like obvious lollies on the thumbnail. Fucking weird music, man. Jesus Christ.
Channels or people with lesser platforms that in fact I heard Timos Boss say this in his most recent video, and I've heard this from kind of multiple even bigger channels, where there's this real worry that it's not just you that will come after them. You end up in a position of weaponizing an
There's worse drawings in the manga itself. That's very true. I mean, even in the Dragon Ball anime, there is a scene of baby Goku slapping Bulma's pussy. Little baby Goku slapping Bulma's pussy. Oh, I can't believe you're showing CSAM on TV. I can't believe you're showing CSAM on TV. What, showing baby Goku slapping Bulma's pussy. You get that off. That's so creepy. Get that off. That's so creepy. That's like lolly. That's so creepy.
Audience to come after them.
That's you guys in chat right now, by the way.
I suppose you're right. I mean, that's the risk of having a platform, and I'm going to be honest here, I don't like that, because I've done what I can to keep my fans off of Doodle Tone's back for a very, very long time. I've been saying in my more recent drama videos on the old channel, please do not attack this person. And like I've been, and other stuff.
That's true, but I mean, from what I can hear from behind the scenes, that may be what you say publicly, but it seems like privately you have at least alluded to that threat while having dramas with people.
Well, I have said, like, listen, like, I think a good example is the Vincent Skullman stuff. Like, he made a video on me, and I wanted to talk things out with him instead of making a video, because he was a very sensitive guy, and I was like, my fans are so toxic, I didn't want them to go after him. And I tried to talk things out with him in private. Eventually, it did work. Unfortunately, that created issues with him, Lio, and Linlin, and I was like, oh my god, I did not want that to happen. I try my best to work things out with people, but I just sometimes don't feel like I know what I'm doing. Like, I do desire revenge, I do desire to get back at people, but I also desire to work things out with people and talk through them, things with them. And with Lio, for a long time, that he was a big help with that. I sat down and talked things out with multiple people instead of just... Because as much as people fear my vengefulness, I also fear the vengefulness of others.
Looking at where you're sat now, I know you've said you're not going to make more drama videos, so you're going to take a step back from that because of Lio. So is that you know, I suppose the question people will have is this you saying that now? But then in 6 months, 12 months, whatever, you'll be like, well, now it's died down, I can take a hit at the people who took shots at me.
That's a good question. That's a good question. That is an excellent question. I'm thinking of making my backdrop, like, don't get back into drama on my laptop.
I actually haven't spent money on Zenless in a minute. I haven't even fucking keeping up with Zenless right now. There's way too much other shit going on. Okay, plenty of your money was spent on an early access copy of Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. However, Digital Deluxe Edition, that was spent. I have actually already completed the base Shadow Generations game. I am now on the hard mode, which opens up a few extra stages. It's very epic. It's very epic.
So I can keep reminding myself. I just don't know if I'll go back to it or not. I hope I don't, but I know myself, and I know I get angry and want to get back at people.
I might swipe for Bernice
I
before
want
the
to
banner
just tie
goes.
this last bit back to the Cinebear drama we're currently embroiled in. Jar's choices and decision-making are highly questionable. I mean, what possessed you to go to Chud Logic of all people? And I like Chud, don't get me wrong, but like if I was looking for somebody to kind of side up in a drama with me, or like if I needed somebody who I thought I could get, or I could use a platform for to like just even plant a seed of an idea, he would be the fucking last person I'd pick.
Okay, 2 reasons, but after this, I need to go for a little bit because I need to take a dump.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, so it might just be gas.
Awesome.
It should just take 5 minutes.
Keep elaborating. No, keep elaborating.
For a little bit, because I need to take a dump.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it might just be gas. It should just take 5 minutes. So don't like turn off the call or anything. I'll just mute myself and.
That's fine. I'll grab it. I'll grab a drink for you.
Don't mute yourself, bro.
Yeah. So one is I was suggested that he was more fair to Cine than anyone else. He seemed more skeptical. And 2, Shud did a video on me back in, as he said it, his soy days. And out of any video I've ever seen on me, I thought it was the most fair and balanced. So I thought, oh, this seems like a guy who's fair and balanced. And, you know, maybe he is, but he probably, like, when I got onto that stream and I saw how angry he was, I realized, oh no, I messed up.
I think it's fair to say that Jar dangerously misjudged how wider commentary would react to something like the Cinebear story. Art commentary involves an extraordinary amount of things that happen behind the scenes in people's interpersonal relationships. This leads to long-standing beefs and feuds that go on for years in some cases, but let's be honest, wider commentary's intention is quite different.
No, I mean, like, it's just content, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Frankly,
Oh, me
most
again.
stories we talk about as commentators, we don't have
the
a
fucking
deep
fanboy
emotional
avatar.
investment in. Most coverage is going to be pretty dispassionate. And I didn't make this video because I hate Jar, I did it because I lack impulse control and a social life. Honestly, the entire Cinebear drama highlights the issues with becoming overly invested in a story. The issues Jar, and frankly anybody else even tangentially involved in this mess, have faced should be a stark reminder to everyone of the flack you will catch if you make this mistake. Finally, I'd just like to thank everyone who was involved in helping with this project, from interviews to art assets. It's all really appreciated. I hope you've enjoyed what we've gone over today and it's been useful to you in the future, because a video like this really did need to exist, frankly. The full interview with Jar will be linked in the description below, and as I suck at sign-offs, I guess I'll just see you in the next one.
I want to make something that's entertaining for people, but I want to make sure that if there is a next time, there is a solid piece of evidence and solid kind of piece of work that people can go, that's who Jar is, in one place, because I think that is
well
needed.
I think it is needed, because I don't even think I know who I am. Often I don't even recognize my own reflection, as cheesy as that sounds.
Dude, I feel so bad for him. Poor guy. Max, the fucking logo is despicable. Just the 2 high voltage signs for the eyes. Yeah, Jar's back in the house. As far as I'm concerned, Jar's back in the house, okay? Yeah, Max helped with the editing. Wow, okay, we were going to, there's the full interview with Jar in the description. Should we listen to some of this? I've got fuck all else covered tonight. The Jar content's flowing heavy.
Hey.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. You're coming through clearly.
And I can tell by your accent you're probably from the UK?
I am indeed.
Well, that must mean you're smart.
Liar,
No.
liar, you're from South Africa. Liar.
It just means I have a misleading accent. So, I mean, I know you're aware of Cope and Seethe, as a channel.
I've come across it.
Do you know... Go on.
Oh. Didn't you interview Akumu and Lio?
I've spoken to Lio a few times, and I interviewed Akumu. I was pretty involved in the whole FCK stuff with Peaches. And I did a lot of, I guess... So Cope and Seethe is essentially a shitposting and research channel. So we do quite... I like to think thorough work to try and make sure that we get accurate facts on story, basically.
I thought I did the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to check yourself. I mean, first off, I mean, it sounds like you've had quite a few days, right?
Quite a few days for what?
Of dealing with all of this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. First day was really bad. Second day got better. Third day it got worse. Fourth day got better. And I think today is the 5th day, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Yep, today is the 5th day since I uploaded it.
So, I mean, I want to talk to you about Cinebear, but I also want to talk to you about you. So my history on the internet's quite long. I've been around, well, long before the skeptics were around. So, you know, I was interested to have a look into you, and I've interviewed a few other people who've known you, and I've got some stuff about your history as well as Cinebear stuff, because I want to get a solid picture of you, Jar, because there doesn't seem to be one.
I'm a little confused by that, but sure.
So the thing is, the stuff that's happened with Cinebear and talking to other people, I think there's elements of this that should we like speak to a wider pattern of behavior, and I want to be like really clear with who I'm talking about, because I don't think it's fair to you for me to just run off what your detractors say or this particular drama. I think that can lead to some quite inaccurate representation. I think that would be unfair to you.
Well, I heard you were very charitable with people, so that's why I accepted to have this call.
Yeah, I try to be. I want to I don't want to. For me, it's not about just running with content, just to get a hit in. But at the same time, I do want to make sure that, you know, I'm thorough. So I want to talk to you a bit about your past, because I think it relates to how the Cinebear stuff has unfolded for you. You know, and I think having that picture helps me put things together. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How far do you want to go back?
Well, I mean, I'm familiar with. So as far as I'm aware, you started sort of out on DeviantArt as a creator there. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you moved over. I've got a bit of a timeline slip here. It seems like you moved over to Lio and kind of the ACC content about 6-7 years ago.
I would say that's about accurate. It depends on who you ask. Some people tell you it's 4 years ago. Others will tell you it was 6 years ago.
And before that, you were an anti-SJW creator.
Yep.
So you worked with. I know you worked with people like Tree of Logic, for example.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll get to kind of move over to the ACC first in a minute. I want to just talk about sort of the anti-SJW stuff, because I've gone through some of the history of accusations against you as well, some of which are completely insane and have, as far as I can tell, absolutely no reality to them.
Like when I groomed a 13-year-old girl
who didn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, who didn't exist, and who I had no message history with or anything of the sort.
Yeah. Was that connected to Heatherpack?
Yes and no. So Chaos 55T was around back then during the Heatherpack days, and I did interact with them, but she wasn't like close with them. She was just kind of like there, but she wasn't like a part of the Heatherpack group.
Dude, why do I have to do this? Oh my god, why is Bad Empanada being funny? This is Stardust, recently removed as a YouTube partner after a history of criminal convictions for pedophilia came to light. What an asshole.
But she was one of the people who did go after me, and she lied, saying I pushed one of her friends to commit suicide, a friend I didn't even know the existence of. And after that, when I brought that up years and years later, she decided to continue lying, saying I did that. And then after that, like about a year later, she decided to Photoshop me grooming a 13-year-old girl, and did a very poor job at the Photoshopping.
That's pretty insane. I mean, it sounds like you have been through the ringer with these, with certain groups and certain A-loggers over the years.
Well, I'm autistic. I'm going to be a target.
Sure, that's that's the unfortunate nature of the internet to some extent. Well, I want to talk about the anti-SJW stuff, because I think one of the claims I've heard against you. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not woke Scoldy. I don't give a shit. But I think one of the accusations very early on I heard you respond to was an accusation of racism.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've been through your old content, to be clear, and I guess. I don't want to talk about an accusation of racism, because I've heard you say the N-word. I've seen the race swap video. It's more the fact that I'm interested as to why this bothers you so much, because, I think those of us who've been around a while all have sort of our edgier elements.
You actually talked about that in the video you did with Kumo. I mean, Akumu. You did, remember? I remember.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned some things along those lines. And it's interesting watching your reaction to that.
I know. The reason why I think I had such a visceral reaction before the Cinebear stuff, that was the closest I have ever come to being canceled. Prismate Luke talked about it, Thuman, Kai, and a bunch of other people were going to talk about it. Well, I apologized very early on, and then it kind of went away, but people kept on bringing it up, and it's kind of become a meme.
This is kind of like dry right now.
Like, I even brought it up in my Cinebear video, like, come on, you don't even think I'm racist? Boo! Like, it's kind of become a meme. I've kind of accepted it, but when it first happened, my biggest connection with another YouTuber was Kuro the Artist, and Prismate Luke painted me incredibly uncharitably. Like, he claimed that my roommate's avatar, he wasn't my roommate at the time, but now he is, but my roommate's avatar, Professor Dreadlock, was a quote-unquote blackface version of me, even though the only thing they have in common is it's in the same art style.
Okay. I mean, I don't think I've seen that image. I've only seen the one where you've got sort of your robot character properly sort of race swapped in your video where you're talking about, I believe, Sean King and
some of the stuff that's happening around black identitarian politics?
Yes, that's another. I don't personally think that was blackface, but what happened there is the artist who did my original avatar drew that picture of me because that's how she assumed I looked in real life. And if you see any leaked pictures of me, you know I don't look a thing like that.
I am aware of the leaked pictures. I will say I know that your sort of face isn't out there. So if any like image of you is used, it will be blurred. So I'm not sort of face revealing you. But I know those images are sort of pretty widely shared around. I think I've seen them on Twitter as well at this.
I just hate that everybody uses the lowest res image of me. I'm like, there's literally every image of me that I leaked. It was higher quality than that one, but everybody loves to use the one where I'm in low resolution for some reason.
I think it's the Superman shirt, mate. I'm gonna be honest with you. Then that has a lot to do with it.
I think it's embarrassing to admit that I'm wearing a Superman shirt right now.
So
Fair
based.
enough.
So cool.
But okay, I think
He's
that
so
sort of clears
cool.
up that question. Actually, no, sorry, I had one other thing. The song you use at the end of your videos, the Battle Hymn of the Republic, that you
Yeah,
have,
we've heard this bit already.
For the way those videos ended. I heard through one of the people I spoke to, in fact several of the people I spoke to, that it bears a striking similarity to American History X. I sort of just wanted to ask whether that in any way was an inspiration, because the wording has similarities to that particular song in ways that it doesn't have to the original hymn.
Oh, no, that's perfectly understandable, and that is accurate. I heard the song growing up, Glory, Glory, Hallelujah. Then I watched the movie American History X while I was actually creating my channel, and I thought, and when I heard that racist rendition of it, I thought, oh, I'm going to make my own rendition of this song. Like, it's a rendition of a rendition, and one of my friends, who's not my friend anymore, helped me come up with the lyrics, and yeah, that's where the song came from. By the way, highly recommend the movie American History X.
Met Jar IRL? Yeah, I heard that.
My one problem is when the white nationalist guy is shooting, that gun had way too much ammo for a pistol.
Yeah, I think that's a fair critique. Yeah, no, it's a classic. I do agree with you. Okay, so I think I'm fairly happy there. I think that gives sort of a kind of a look in at your time in the anti-SJW community, and then you moved over to the ACC, and sort of got involved with people like
lyrics. Yeah, he's talking about this song.
My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube, debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. Just the robot marches on.
It's just like the American History X song.
like just for my own timeline as well. Was that around the time you started to get involved with your sort of long-term beef with TMOS Boss, or was that an earlier? Okay.
The beef with TMOS Boss, which I'm now going to have to scrap my video on him because I promised that if I do come back to YouTube, which I do, I'm not going to do any more drama videos, but yeah, TMOS Boss happened during the anti-SJW days because I would do anti-SJW / anti-reaction channel videos. So you would see, like, I would do an anti-SJW video and then an anti-reaction video and, you know, kind of flip-flop between the two. And eventually Doodle Tones showed up and the Pokemon drama happened.
I mean, you seem to have had a lot of knowledge of, like, Metica from back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean...
Guys, I'm gonna grab a lem sip, okay? I need something to just... I'm feeling fucked up, okay? So, just 1 second.
Was it not odd to end up in a friendship with somebody like Doodle Tones?
Oh, no, it was odd, but I wanted to squash the beef between me and her, and also, she's a pretty good editor, and I felt like she got way too much backlash from my fan base, and I also thought she was a pretty tough cookie because, well, she got a direct hit from both me and Mr. Medicare simultaneously and didn't give up, so I thought, oh, this is a pretty cool person right here.
So, I mean, when you released your video on Doodle Tones, which was, you know, pretty critical, it seems like you were on fairly good terms with them, but you still took quite a direct shot at them.
Yes.
Now, that seems to be a bit of a pattern of behavior. I've noticed that it's really interesting in your Peaches video that you say, you know, the way the ACC works is very backstabby. You said the same thing to Cinebear, and you said in your Peaches video, I believe it's online, I'm probably paraphrasing here, but, you know, everyone in the ACC, no matter how much you like support them, shout them out, they'll just see you as a target to make a video on. Which is interesting because it seems like every time you've been on, you know, fair terms with somebody, whether it's Doodle Tones, Spoctor, Peaches, the potential for the upcoming video on Lyo, I
scrap that one.
But the pattern still holds, if you see what I mean. You know, you've got good relationships with these people, but then you seem to pull very quickly in the other direction, normally at the end of a drama.
Yes. So, mind if I explain that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead. With
the Spoctor one, I and many others reached out, told him, like, hey, you're making mistakes, please fix these mistakes, and he was just not doing it. And I was just like, and when I heard the call with him and Lyo, I decided I should call him out since no one with a sizable platform back then was calling him out, so I decided to do that. And me and Spoctor, we weren't really that close. We spoke in feces very rarely. It was like once every 2 years, maybe. Like, I felt bad for what happened to him when he got falsely accused, but then I thought maybe it should be the right thing for me to call him out. So with the whole Spoctor thing of me going against him, just because he was innocent back in 2018 doesn't mean he was innocent in 2022 or 2023 or whenever I uploaded that video. And even then, I think I was more charitable towards him than some other people were. As for Doodle Tones, I tried multiple times to get people to leave her alone. I was in a video with her saying, hey guys, just like, she had enough. Just please leave her alone, and a few other things. But eventually, now this was a very petty reason on my part, which is why I actually removed my Doodle Tones video. Lio explained it to me. But basically, someone made a video on me, and Doodle Tones voiced lines in that video, and it kind of upset me because I was like, oh my god, like I do all this stuff for you, and then you add your credibility to this video on me, and I felt slighted. And once they left YouTube, I decided to talk about them because I was like, well, if they're gone, I might as well do this video. But at the end, I do give them advice on how to move forward in the future with reinventing themselves, similar to how Crowd and T reinvented himself.
I mean, it's an interesting one because you seem to hold grudges in a way that is, quite extreme. Somebody will slight you, and then you will come for them years later over something that is,
I know, and I'm ashamed of it, and I've been self-reflecting about that. It's something very unhealthy, and revenge doesn't even feel good. With my Lio video, I did feel bad about making it, but I felt like I had to make it because people were like, oh, weren't you buddy with Lio? And I realized only recently that I've never been really a loyal friend to him, and I feel horrible about that now because when I had that call with him, he really looked into my soul and explained to me that like how I acted, and it really hit me hard that he did all these nice things for me, and I cared more about this. Like,
I mean, this is a criticism that came at Queen Seraphina.
Okay, I'm back.
And
I
know Sarah very well at this point.
Okay.
She's sort of just like, I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to get involved, but I'm not defending Lio, and I'm not going to talk about it, and has distanced herself because of what's happened. I think part of the argument is, you're coming in now at the end, and you said that people are applying pressure, but this is very much when the battle's kind of been won. So you can see how that looks. It doesn't look like, well, I felt pressured. It looks like, well, now I can come in and sort of, I've got the numbers behind me on the channel where it can look like, well, this is something that I was always saying. And again, it's almost this rewriting of history or sort of jumping late on the bandwagon, or again, quite similarly to Cinebear.
We watched the racial furry feet video.
Can we watch the racial furry feet video?
I don't see it. Achilles Argyle race. Oh, I can't pull this up. It's considered age restricted. The original, I can't even. And now that's hate speech. Okay. There's no re-upload that I can watch. Okay. I mean, it seems like it was a troll that everyone fell for anyway. Based on that, I'm not logging in. It seems like everyone probably just fell for the bait.
Or Doodle or Peaches, where once it's done, then you pick a side.
Well, with Peaches, like, she was getting bashed, and I helped her out when she was like on the losing side. I helped her get back up there, and then I felt like I had to make this video because I made like multiple videos defending her, and I didn't want people to think I was still him now. I didn't want people to think I'll just call them. I didn't want people to think I was defending them anymore. As for Lio, like at the start of my script, I even say like I've had nothing but good experiences with the guy.
I mean, what was your motivator for making the Lio video? Because I can, like what external force kind of was propelling you in that direction?
I started to think that Lio wasn't really a good guy after all, that I had to make this video to show people that I was no longer on his side, and I kept on going back and forth with the script. I actually scripted this. I don't always use a script because of my dyslexia, but I kept on going back and forth with it. If I should do this, if I should not, was teeter-tottering on it a lot because Lio has never backstabbed me. Lio has never upset me, and I was like, is this the right thing to do? And I sometimes don't know where my biases lie, because on the one hand, I thought maybe it's good to call him out to show people that I can be objective, but on the other hand, I was like, but he was there for me. He was my friend.
Do you feel like you've backstabbed people?
Do I feel like I've backstabbed people? Mind if I think about that for a second?
Yeah, take your time. I want you to make sure you're clear on your answers. That's fine to pull.
I'm going through the list of everybody I've like collabed or interacted with on YouTube.
Sure.
None that come to mind.
I mean, would you say that the stuff with
Yeah.
Would you say the stuff with Doodles was a backstab?
Hard to say, because on the one hand, I kind of feel like I was backstabbed first because I was the main person trying to like mend our relationship. Like, hey, listen, I know you came at me first and you got a lot of backlash for it, but I don't think you're a bad person. And like, I'll try to get my fans off your back. I'll hire you to do some editing. And then, oh, I'm going to be in a negative video about Jar and put my credibility on it. And before that, and I approached Doodle Tones about that, I talked to her and I was very vulnerable in that call. And then she leaked that call. And then that's when I felt, that was the moment when I felt backstabbed, because I didn't know I was being recorded and I didn't know she would send it to people. And I think I might have just been a lapse in judgment on her end. But I think one thing that I do have an issue with is that, are you okay?
Sorry, just sneezing. Go on.
Sometimes I wonder if I was backstabbed or if I'm the one doing the stabbing. Sometimes it's very obvious, like with Junkie, it's blatant that he backstabs me among a comment. It's pretty blatant. But this whole thing of who backstabbed who and everything, this is why I decided after this Cinny situation I want to be done with drama, because I am just exhausted at this point.
I mean, you do have an entire second channel which does seem to be sort of vengeance responses to people.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, going back to 2013.
Back to 2013?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
Oh,
yeah, that
I thought you were talking about the recent stuff. Yeah, this is one issue I do have. I just have a very strong desire to get back at people. And the worst part is, once you do, it doesn't feel that great. It feels a little good, but it doesn't feel nearly as great as you would think it does. And I was trying to respond to every single video ever made on me on my second channel at one point, but then I got bored. And now I realize like how silly and stupid that made me look, because I could have been making videos that people actually gave a shit about and got a lot more views. And granted, response videos are a lot easier to make. Like, you know what you're saying, you know what they're saying. You don't even need a script. You just hit the record button and use some gameplay. Very easy stuff to make. But now, with the amount of people I've pissed off, I realized that I kind of dug my own grave by acting the way I did. I kept on pissing people off one after another, and eventually I knew eventually it would come back to bite me in the ass, and it did.
I mean, yeah. So the people I've spoken to who've had sort of issues with you in the past, one of the constant things I hear is they don't want to respond. They don't want to deal with kind of how vengeful you are. And there's this fear, especially for smaller channels or people with lesser platforms, that in fact I heard Timos Boss say this in his most recent video, and I've heard this from kind of multiple even bigger channels, where there's this real worry that it's not just you that will come after them. You end up in a position of weaponizing an audience to come after them potentially.
I suppose you're right. I mean, that's the risk of having a platform, and I'm going to be honest here, I don't like that, because I've done what I can to keep my fans off of Doodletone's back for a very, very long time. I've been saying in my more recent drama videos on the...
Max, if you edit another video for Beckett, please change his rant persona to Alex Yick. Dude.
Old channel, please do not attack this person.
Why are you doing Beckett
and,
like
I've
this?
been, and
This is so fucked up.
other stuff.
That's true, but I mean, from what I can hear from behind the scenes, that may be what you say publicly, but it seems like privately you have at least alluded to that threat while having dramas with people.
Well, I have said, like, listen, like, I think a good example is the Vincent Skullman stuff. Like, he made a video on me, and I wanted to talk things out with him instead of making a video, because he was a very sensitive guy, and I was like, my fans are so toxic, I didn't want them to go after him. And I tried to talk things out with him in private. Eventually, it didn't work.
Now, that's epic.
Unfortunately, that created issues with
That's
him,
epic.
Lyo, and Linlin, and I was like, oh my god, I did not want that to happen. I try my best to work things out with people, but I just sometimes don't feel like I know what I'm doing. Like, I do desire revenge, I do desire to get back at people, but I also desire to work things out with people and talk through them, things with them. And with Lyo, for a long time, he was a big help with that. I sat down and talked things out with multiple people instead of just... Because as much as people fear my vengefulness, I also fear the vengefulness of others.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, you are going to run across people like me who, you know, someone's large audience potentially coming after them isn't going to be a threat at all. You know, it's actually for quite a few commentators an invitation. You know, because you've been within the ACC, you sort of, I feel like you've ended up with a bit of leeway to act in that way that you just wouldn't have survived in other spaces. Do you think that, you know, I noticed that you don't seem to hold that same vengefulness towards sort of general commentary like Oggy RFC?
No, I don't. Because, like, to be perfectly honest, they don't piss me off in the same way. Like, I saw Oggy RFC's video on me, I was like, yeah, not the new one, but the John Swan one. I made a video taking the explaining my thought process, and that I'm glad they called me out. I don't fully remember the video because I did later unlist it along with my John Swan video. Like, and also aside from now, it's now happening, but aside from the last week, the other communities of creators haven't ticked me off. They haven't done anything that really pissed me off. I've had very small dramas with other like groups and stuff.
Do you feel like anybody currently has pissed you off from those other communities?
Currently, sure, I'm pissed off. Don't get me wrong, I am a bit pissed off at a lot of people who said a lot of things about me. But I can understand where they're coming from. It doesn't seem to come from a place of malice. So I'm not pissed off in the same way I'm pissed off as at an ACC person.
Do you feel like the friendships you make are made on the basis of mutual benefit, or as you would see it? Because, you know, I look at the DMs you had with Cinny, both, you know, kind of how you're building that relationship, but also what you said about, well, I've spoken to Chad Logic, we can get him on side. I've seen what you've said to Goblin about fighting, you know, in your comment section, in your defense. And
I was absolutely
this is pretty bland.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Anyone else find it's pretty bland?
It's a weird thing to ask anyone to do, even a fan, let alone another creator, especially a small creator. But also, you know, wider to that, you know, you've asked Ponder for defense, you've gone to Lyo to defend you. I assume similar things have happened with Peaches and Doodles, Spock, to many of the people you've interacted with. And when those people are no longer useful to you, it does seem like you just drop them.
I'll say something else. 1 minute.
Well,
This was just.
I went to Doodle Tones.
really
I helped
easy.
Doodle Tones out in the icy hazard situation. I don't think I asked her to help me out with the junkie situation, but I think she just wanted to. And but I can totally understand where you're coming from with everyone else. Like I did ask Spoctor to help me out. He refused to. I did ask Ponder. She didn't. Lio helped me out multiple times, but I can see this pattern forming. And after I took a step back, I was actually doing a lot of reflection on this today. I've been watching a lot of BoJack Horseman because of how he kind of does that too with people. In that shows, I was realizing, holy fuck, was I actually doing this? And now I'm starting to believe I was. And I'm going to reflect on it more and more, but I think I am. I'm starting to think I'm not a good person, and I do use people for my own benefit.
Do you feel like, you know, it's interesting looking at the similarities between Spoctor and Cinebat, for example, because these are two people who had, you know, fairly serious accusations against them. But it seems like, you know, if the wind turned in another direction, he would have potentially tried to protect Spoctor more. You said, well, Peach's biggest mistake was running away and deleting her channels. But I mean, Peach's outright falsely accused Lio of abuse and multiple other people of things who tried to, you know, destroy people's lives. So, I mean, again, it's the way, you know, from the outside, it looks like you've gone, well, they were fine. Their mistake was not being around anymore. Which, you know,
I absolutely did not mean for it to come across that way. Okay, let me take a deep breath here.
Sure.
Like, when it comes to cancellation, Peach's running away. Like, if you run away, you can't fix your mistakes. You can't give proper closure to those you've hurt. And, I did not mean for it to come across that way. I really did not.
Embleton can't stand being the failed lyrics after show. It's getting to him day by day. Dude, that crash out was so crazy.